सीआरसी गोरखपुर अपने 134वीं श्रृंखला में आप सबका स्वागत करती है। आज हमारे साथ आज का जो प्रोग्राम है वो बहुत ही विशेष टॉपिक पे है, क्योंकि जो इस समय करंट सिनेरियो चल रहा है देश में, पैरा ओलंपिक चल रहा है, उसी के मद्देनजर रख हम लोगों ने इस टॉपिक को चूज किया है कि पैरा ओलंपिक में या ओलंपिक में जो लोग जाते हैं, जो हमारे वहाँ तक पहुँचते हैं, चाहे वो नेशनल लेवल खेले, स्टेट लेवल का खेले, डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेवल का खेले या इंटरनेशनल लेवल का खेले, तो उनमें क्योंकि हम लोग देखते हैं कि बहुत सारे जो पैरा एथलीट है वो टाइम टू टाइम इंजर्ड होते रहते हैं। उनमें बहुत सारी इंजरी होती है, क्योंकि वो जब खेलते हैं तो इंजरी उनमें होना स्वाभाविक है, बट उसके कारण उनका जो समय है वो काफी एक प्राप्त होगा। हमारे नेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट के डायरेक्टर डॉक्टर हिमांशु दास सर का, जो जिनके मार्गदर्शन में सारे प्रोग्राम चल रहे हैं, विषय चेंज करके हम लोग विभिन्न विभिन्न विषयों पर प्रोग्राम करते हैं। साथ में हमारे सीआरसी के रेजिडेंट कोऑर्डिनेटर श्री रवि कुमार जी जुड़ेंगे, जिनके मार्गदर्शन और गाइडेंस में सीआरसी में नए नए प्रोग्राम हो रहे हैं। सर का भी मैं स्वागत करता हूं, तथा साथ में हमारे जितने भी प्रतिभागी हैं जुड़े हुए हैं, जो अभी जुड़े हैं, जो अभी इसके डायरेक्ट हमारे गूगल मीट के माध्यम से जुड़े हैं या हमारे यूट्यूब के माध्यम से जुड़े हैं या जो बाद में हमारे रिकॉर्डिंग को देखेंगे, उनका भी मैं तहे दिल से स्वागत एवं वंदन करता हूं। प्रोग्राम में ज़्यादा समय न लेते हुए मैं आज के कार्यक्रम की औपचारिक शुरुआत के लिए अपने सीआरसी के रेजिडेंट कोऑर्डिनेटर श्री रवि कुमार जी को आमंत्रित करता हूं कि सर आएं और आप हमारे रिसोर्स पर्सन का स्वागत करें, ऑफिशियल अभिवादन करें। श्री रवि कुमार जी, सर आप तक आवाज जा रही है मेरी?
Yeah, thank you, Vijay ji, and good afternoon to you all. CRC Gorakhpur Composite Regional Center for Skill Development, Rehabilitation and Empowerment of Person with Disabilities, CRC Gorakhpur आप सभी का हार्दिक स्वागत अभिनंदन करता है। जैसा कि विजय गुप्ता जी ने बताया कि CRC गोरखपुर कंटिन्यूअसली कोविड-19 पैंडेमिक को ध्यान में रखते हुए दिव्यांगजनों हेतु अलग अलग तरह के वेबिनार, उनके आइडेंटिफिकेशन, असेसमेंट और मैनेजमेंट पर वेबिनार कराता रहा है। और आज का वेबिनार भी आज पैरा एथलीट से रिलेटेड है। पैरा एथलीट जैसा कि हम लोग जानते हैं और जैसा कि हमारे कोऑर्डिनेटर साहब ने बताया कि जो भी हमारे दिव्यांग हैं उनमें भी एबिलिटी होती है कुछ न कुछ एथलीट्स कुछ न कुछ स्पोर्ट्स करने की, स्पोर्ट्स में भाग लेने की, और पैरालंपिक प्रतियोगिता भी आज के समय में चल रही है इंडिया लेवल पे, सो इंटरनेशनल लेवल पे पैरालंपिक भी चल रही है। तो जो भी दिव्यांग हैं कैसे अपने आप को एबल करके अपने पैरा स्पोर्ट्स में भाग लेते हैं, उसी पर आज वेबिनार आधारित है, जिसका टॉपिक है इंजरी प्रिवेंशन एंड मैनेजमेंट ऑफ पैरा एथलीट्स। पैरा एथलीट्स को चोट लग जाए उसकी क्या क्या प्राइमरी प्रिवेंशन की जाए और उसका क्या क्या मैनेजमेंट किया जाए, उसी पर आधारित है। सो मैं without taking much time, on behalf of CRC Gorakhpur, first of all I would like to welcome our director Dr. Himanshu Das. So I would hand over to Vijay Gupta ji to continue with the program, sir.
थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू। मैं अब कार्यक्रम को आगे बढ़ाते हुए आज के प्रोग्राम में मैं फिर से स्वागत करना चाहूँगा आज के जो हमारे रिसोर्स पर्सन है, जो कि बहुत ही इमिनेंट पर्सनालिटी हैं, जिन्होंने स्टेट लेवल पे और नेशनल लेवल पे भी बहुत सारे वॉलीबॉल टीम के साथ और टेनिस के साथ और इस समय कई टीमों के साथ उन्होंने काम किया और जिनका स्पोर्ट में करीब 10 सालों का अनुभव है, जो कि स्पोर्ट्स पर्सन के साथ जिन्होंने काफ़ी समय व्यतीत किया है। और मैं इन्हें पर्सनली जानता हूँ कि ही इज ए वेरी गुड पर्सनालिटी इन द फील्ड ऑफ द स्पोर्ट। And so I would like again welcome to our resource person, Dr. Mohanta sir. Again, Dr. Sekhar Mohanta sir, most welcome. Now I handed over to Mike Mohanta sir, Dr. Sekhar Mohanta sir. Please take your charge.
Thank you, Vijay ji. Thank you. Good afternoon to everyone. I think I don't need to introduce myself now. So this is really a good time to discuss this topic, and I'm really grateful for CRC to give me this opportunity to like discuss about injury prevention to our para athletes. And the particular moment, India is also doing really good in Paralympics. So we should congratulate and we should like feel proud for that. And even I'm in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka also have done good job this time, and they got 2 medals as well. And so far, India has got 8 medals, 2 gold for silver and another 2 bronze also. So really, they are doing good. So it's a nice time to discuss this. I hope you guys are audible to me. Vijay ji, आप सुन पा रहे हैं मुझे?
Yes, sir. You are audible.
He's called Danis, Mohammad Danis. He's our classmate. मेरा and विजय जी का classmate रहा हुआ है. हम लोग साथ में पढ़े हैं. तो वो really proud moment है. मैं उसको पहले present करना चाहता हूँ क्योंकि ये actually really proud moment for all of us. ऐसे 2 gold medal जीत चुके हैं हम लोग, 4 silver and 2 bronze medal, and he's doing really good job, Mr. Danis. We should congratulate and give a good hand for him also. So शुरू करने से पहले मैं जानना चाहता हूँ कौन कौन प्रोफेशनल्स हैं. जैसे कुछ मेरे दोस्त, मेरे कॉलीग्स फ्रॉम ओडिशा से भी जुड़े हुए हैं, एंड विजय जी फिजियोथेरापिस्ट हैं. सो और कौन सा प्रोफेशनल हैं विजय जी, थोड़ा सा मुझे बताएंगे आप?
सर हमारे साथ रिहैब प्रोफेशनल हैं जो कि डिफरेंट फील्ड से हैं. कुछ स्पेशल एजुकेशन से हैं, फिजियोथेरेपिस्ट भी हमारे साथ जुड़े हुए हैं सर, और फिजियोथेरेपिस्ट भी जुड़े हैं जी.
वेरी गुड.
आर्थोटिक प्रोस्थेटिक भी हैं सर.
अच्छा, मैं एक रिक्वेस्ट करना चाहता हूँ, प्लीज एवरीवन शुड कंट्रीब्यूट थ्रू देयर नॉलेज टू मी. ओके, इट शुड बी a discussion class. Okay, you can ask me questions, even I can ask you questions. Please be ready to start giving some your feedbacks and your answers and your questions. I'm always ready to do that. Okay, so let's go to our topic. So today our topic is regarding injury prevention in para sports. So as we are a health professional, what we can do for para athlete? What should be our responsibilities? Any of our physiotherapist भाई लोग कोई कुछ बोलना चाहेंगे? हम लोग का क्या responsibility है? कोई भी?
Sir, it will be better कि we will take the question answer session in last 5 minutes. So
अच्छा,
please you
ठीक
may
है.
continue. हाँ.
Okay, ठीक है. So जैसे हम लोग, जैसे we are the health professional, our first job to protect the health of the athletes. How we protect the health? By recognizing the problems, recognizing the issues. So how we can do that? Then only the injury prevention part will be coming. So if you don't know what is the issue, what is the injury, what is the problem they have, accordingly, once you get to know what is the problem, what is the issue, then only we can plan our prevention. Correct? So then, what is the aim? How we can make a prevention program or prevention technique? So first, what we need to know what happening, how many injuries are happening, how. So to know that there are very less of studies are there in para athletes. It's unlike to the normal sports. In para athletes, there is very less researchers are there, and so we need to start doing research on that. Who have been working with this disability or in this kind of a center, they're really doing. I should appreciate them. They're doing really good job. Please, I will suggest. Please keep documenting. Keep posting. Then only we can read your articles and your studies. Then only we can understand what are the injuries happening in which sports and which kind of athletes getting more injured. So accordingly, we can plan our prevention. So it should be helping to us to prevent the injuries. How the equipment should be, if there is necessary to change any equipments or to add something on the equipment, that also need to be done. And training practice, of course, because these are not properly not like normal. We can say, you can't say abnormal, but they are having some kind of disabilities. So they need special attention some point. So we need to identify what are the difficulties they have and how to overcome all those. So we need to identify all those. Then only we can help them to improve their performances. In technical aspect also, if someone having some problem with their, say, amputee, or one hand is not there, how can they use other hand to run the wheelchair kind of thing. So all this we need to be identified, and then only we can plan for prevention. The impact of these changes on future injury incidents can then be measured and monitored. So in future, what we can do, we can monitor this, we can measure this, and accordingly we can plan out our prevention techniques. While this is a relatively simple statement, the practical implementation of this in any sports can be challenging, and particularly in para sports or Paralympics, or even para athletes, is really challenging. If you see here, these are the girls of sitting volleyball, and if you see the first girl having below knee amputation, and the second one also having below knee amputee, and third also having a little bit closer to the knee amputee, and the fourth one, if you see, there is above knee, and fifth one is really in the very high above knee injury. So all these people are really different, you know. So even they're playing same sport, same game, but they are different. Their body is different. So we need to work individually to help them to increase the performance, and we can prevent the injuries. The principle of the injury prevention are the same, but new level of difficulties must be considered in relation to different impairment, because these people are having different impairment. So accordingly, we need to plan, we need to have proper knowledge about their problem. Accordingly, we need to implement the prevention plan. So now, in Tokyo, in this Olympic, they introduced two new games. One is called Taekwondo, and another is called badminton. So what is the problem? Is there any problem if they introduce new game? Yes, of course there is a problem, because you know there is no studies. So there is no previous studies. There are never Paralympian para athletes never participate in badminton before. They never participate in Taekwondo before. So we don't have any evidence how to prevent their injuries. So these are the things challenging, because Olympics is adding new sports. So these are the challenging for us, for health professionals who have been working with para athletes. So these are the, so we need to keep recording if you have badminton player who are playing badminton, how they are getting injuries, what is the more common injury, maybe shoulder, or maybe elbow, maybe wrist. So we need to identify it, and we need to record it. Then it will be help in future study, future student or future athlete. They can read your research, and then they can implement some kind of a prevention plan. So let's come to the principle. What is the principle? There are in not only para, in any sports, the injury prevention follows these four principles. What is that? First is establishing the extent of the problem. So how to identify, how does it happen? You need to identify how does it happen, how the incidence is, how the severity is. Accordingly, once you know how does it happen and how much severity is, then only we can identify some solution. So then, to establish etiology, you need to know what is the mechanism of injury, why the injury is happening, is there any fault in technique, or fault in the equipment, or fault in something else. So we need to identify all this. Then only we can introduce a preventive measures in third session. You can see in this third block. Then only we can introduce a preventive measures. And after introducing a preventive measure, again you have to apply to the athlete, the intervention. Then again you have to identify whether it's get improved, you get proper less injuries, or the performance has been increased or not, or injury has been reduced or not, or severity has been reduced or not. So these are the four basic principles of injury prevention. So now let's discuss one by one to identify the incidents and the etiology or epidemiology of the injury. If you see in 2012 London Olympics.
Moving the slides? Are you moving the slides?
Yes, I'm moving. Is it not coming?
Yes, sir. No, sir, it's not coming. Yes, sir, now okay. Yes, sir, visible, sir.
All right, this is our friend Dinesh, Danis. Your injuries per 1,000 athletes per day. Day wise, it is like, can you see? Like again, it's more than 10, more than about 12 and 13 per 1,000 athletes. Here, if you see the body chart, because of the use of wheelchair and all, the shoulder percentage is very high. It is about 17.7%. It's really, if you see the population and all, it's really very high, the injury rate is. And then next is wrist and hand, and then elbow, and then knees. So, as I told, this is our first incidence. Then you need to establish the etiology. We need to identify what is the risk, what is the cause of injury. So for that, there are two types of risk factors are there in injuries. One is called intrinsic, one is called extrinsic. Intrinsic means what is inside our body. What is that? The age. The age must be a very, very big factor, you know. So I'm going to show you one picture. If you know this guy, the person is Ibrahim. He's from Egypt, and he's participating in table tennis, and he doesn't have hand. And can you imagine how does he play with his mouth? And he's 48-year-old. So in certain age, there is chances of certain injuries, and young age people, they get less injuries, and even they get injured also, they recover very faster. And there are for females, there are certain hormonal imbalance, hormonal changes happens. They are also sometimes very prone to the injuries. So gender also another factor, and body size. You know, body size, body composition is also very important. If you're an athlete, you need to be very lean and very thin to learn to run. And if you are participating in rugby, you know, your body size definitely you need a high big size body to participate and to compete in the international level. So body size also have a major impact. The health, of course, the previous injury, any joint instability, any pathology, if you have earlier, that also have the impact on the injuries. The physical fitness, the muscle strength, your power, your oxygen intake, oxygen saturation, your flexibility, the range of motion. There are any, as we are talking about the Paralympics, so anatomical abnormalities, these are the factors. Along with that, the skill level, how skillful you are. So all these are intrinsic factors which can be the cause of the injuries. So there are a few extrinsic factors which comes from outside, say the human factor, like your teammate can be, you hit to your teammate during team games, like say during football or during basketball. So you hit your teammate and you can get injured. You can hit to the opponent, you can get injured. So the protective equipment also can cause injury, say like shin guard or helmet, sometimes mouth guard. All these also can cause injury. Sometimes the environment, the weather, the snow, ice, the floor, turf, it also can cause injury. These are all extrinsic factors of. We need to identify what are the intrinsic factors and what are the extrinsic factors of the injury. If we can find out all these, then we can plan our prevention. Is it clear? Vijay ji, आप सुन पा रहे हैं properly मेरे?
Yes sir. You are
audible. Really good in Hindi, guys, because I left India now already 8 and 9 years and not talking Hindi since long. There been some mistake, so please excuse me.
Sir, most of participant from Hindi belt, but no issue. You may continue as you.
आप लोग पूछ सकते हैं कुछ भी हिंदी में. Okay, so now we have specific some sports in para to identify the preventive measures. So what is that? Now I'm coming to the third part of our principle. It will come to, so we already discussed the first part and the second part. Now coming to the how to introduce the preventive measures. Okay, so say in Paralympics, in para ice hockey and the lower limb fracture. There's evidence, actually, we are really fortunate. The first injuries are with Paralympic game by IPC, International Paralympic Committee, 2002. And they produced the first finding, and that is in para ice hockey. So what they found, so initially, once they introduced the para ice hockey to the ice hockey. So ice hockey people was like playing like a skate, and like this is called, the ball is called puck and the stick. So it was like this. So what they do, the para ice hockey is based on the rule of International Ice Hockey Federation. But there is some modification. They did some modification for the para athletes. What they did introduce two skateboards. It's a double blade sledge. So there is the sledge and a puck to pass the underneath. And they introduced two spike, two sticks on for left hand and right hand. And there are two kind of ends are there. We call one is called spike end and another is called blade end. So blade end is for the shooting and spike end for the pushing. So they introduced this to the Paralympics, para athletes. So what happened in 2002, they identify there are highest number of low limb fracture across all the sports. What they found, during a 2002 competition, there are 5 low limb fracture identified. And that is about, like, it's the highest cause of injuries in that particular sports. And the protective equipment at that time was based on the standard of ice hockey equipment, and they failed to recognize the potential for the injury due to different position of the player and lack of any mandatory leg protection. So there was no any leg protection before. So it causes 5 low limb fracture. That is really very high, So what they did, in future, what they did, the sledge of the one player could directly hit, so it can hit and it can break the bone. Okay, so then what IPC has medical committee has done, they have changed the rule. So how rule change is the important factor of prevention injury also. So you can identify from here. So what they did, they increased the height of the sledge, and they put mandatory leg protection. So legs should be protected properly to prevent all this injury. So after doing this, if you see, they have done another 3 study. Further study has been done in Winter Paralympic game, and they found no further low limb fracture during the competition identified. Can you believe? This is little bit rule change and little bit modification can help to prevent injuries. So now come to the track and field athletes. So this is the most commonly one of the largest number of athletes participating in this game, in this track and field athletics. Approximately 1/4 of all athletes participate in all sports at the game. See, if you check the all sports, 1/4 means 1/4. It's really 25% of athletes are participating in this. It's really high. And in first comprehensive study, para-athletic game identified 6th highest incidence. Can you believe, like 21% in 1,000 athletes? The injury rate is so high. That is, they identified in 2012. So what they did, they changed. They made a broad brush term. It's called wheelchair athlete. They changed to the wheelchair. So they asked, better you sit on the wheelchair and perform. So after that, what they found the injury rate is low than like not even 10. It will come to the total 50% reduced. It's become 10%, 6% only. Also, if we are considering the wheelchair track, the chances of shoulder injury, of course, the shoulder injury becomes high, but there is a protocol, there is a program we can introduce to the strengthening the shoulder. So because of that, the injury rate was really reduced. So in this discipline, as I told, impairment specific data cell, the specific sports issue for shoulder injury, which allow consideration of the aggravation factor. So of course, if you are having regular shoulder using, you need to push the wheelchair. Meantime, you have to bring the throwing activities, say short put or discus or javelin, all those you can sit and do in a wheelchair also. So that sometimes it increases the shoulder injury, shoulder pain. So for that, we can introduce some sort of strengthening program as we are physiotherapist or trainer or any other professional. So on that behalf also, IPC, our International Paralympic Committee, they are doing so many programs, like if you see here, to facilitate the transfer of knowledge into injury prevention practice. The IPC committee organized a seminar at Aspect, that is in Doha. It's a hospital and training center for the coaches and World Championship in Doha. So they are doing from their side also how to facilitate, how to the awareness, like your institute, like CRC is doing through me. So these are the really good like programs to share our knowledge and our problems with parents, with athletes, with our professional, to identify the injuries and to introduce the prevention measures. So next sports is next our challenge is residual limb. You know, who have been orthotic prosthetics are there. They have been very known about that. If you see, for the athlete with lower limb prosthesis, the team physician and our physiotherapist, one of the very key factor in ensuring the continued participation to achieve the sports performance in health of the tissue within the residual limb. Maintaining the health of the tissue at the interface between the prosthetic and limb is essential. The constant monitoring is very important, because if you know, if the athlete is traveling, so if you're traveling for the long, it can cause some swelling, some injury. You know, they might go to so many. They might need to go to travel so many distance, which is not even necessary during the practice session. So for all that, all those can be causes injury or can make them fatigue also. The changes in volume of the residual limb occurs because of an acute stage, there are chances of swelling. So if the volume of the residual limb changes, then again you need to identify and you need to find another prosthetic to fit to their limb. Or you need to reduce the swelling, or you need to identify why the volume of the residual limb is increasing. So all this we need to be identified. Consequently, the consistent appraisal of the fit of the prosthetic and any reaction to acute training loads must be observed. If someone has been giving too much strengthening exercises, the muscle girth also can increase. After, if you see the athlete is doing, now you have made the prosthesis, and after 6 months of the training, or after 1 year or 2 years of the training, the muscle girth also increased. So that might not fit to that prosthesis to their limb, you know. So then we need to identify whether is there any proper loading is there. That if there is any problem with that also, we need to identify and we need to change it. Sometimes because of constant use, there are chances of skin breakdown, skin shape. So that also we need to identify. Sometimes because of the excess sweating, there are chances of accumulation of the bacteria or virus, and it may cause some infection. So we need to constantly, we need to identify, we need to observe all this also. So for that, particularly there are some new technique or new prosthesis has come out with the silicone stump liner. We can use the silicone stump liner as a preventive measures. Sometimes we can use a compression stockings to reduce the swelling of the lower limb during the long traveling. Like say, this time the Paralympics is going on in Japan. So from India to Japan is not very far, but sometimes it happens in Canada, sometimes in US. So it's a long flight that can cause so much swelling to their limb. So for that particular causes, we can use some compression stockings to reduce the swelling. There is also a further challenge for the amputee athlete. When entering to the game environment, that may lead to the increased risk of the screen breakdown if not considered or not prepared for. But they need to prepare, like, you know, so for say like for a World Championship or Paralympics, the additional workload. Why it is like sometimes the accommodation, you know, as I spoke to my friend Danish this morning, from the Olympic Village to the venue is about 40 minutes drive, you know, it's about 20-30 kilometers from the venue. So that accommodation, dining hall, transportation, and competition venue, all this could be the cause. So for that, there is a study called pedometry study for Olympics athlete, comparing number of steps between home training and Paralympic game. So what they found, there is average 5,472 extra steps with about 83% increases per day. Can you imagine? So if you're practicing at your like in your institute or your training home training environment, and same time you went to some high competition like in international competition, and your workload has been increased this much 83%, definitely you will be tired, definitely you will be fatigued. So not only the fatigue, the additional energy expenditure. So that all causes that can be can causes their that can affect their performance. Am I right? I'm right, right? So that all can be causes. So we need to identify, as we are health professional, we are there to help them. So we need to identify if this person is going to there and there. And sometimes in altitude, like they have to work in the extreme condition. If they are not used to in the snow or not used to the hilly area, their RBC level may increase, may decrease. So all this we need to identify, and accordingly we need to find some kind of preventive measures. So what is the preventive, what we can do? A preventive measure will be education. We need to educate to the athlete. It can be possible in this. So you need to be trained previously before your competition. We need to be ready to cover that much of distance and how to overcome the fatigueness of, and we need to introduce some sort of a extra training program to make the preconditioning and education and preconditioning and fitness program before any kind of sort of big competition. So these are some pictures I captured from this Olympic. Look how the injuries are happening. So how your teammate can be causes for your injury, can be opponent, can be some external factors can causes injuries. Some like wheelchair also can causes injuries, or protecting equipment also can causes injuries. Now let's come to the principle of preventive measures. How we can prevent now, as I talk regarding to some rule changes, some equipment changes, some education. So now in our perspective, how we can help them. So first, if you have proper physical conditioning, that also reduces injury. Same time, appropriate training method also can reduce the injury, can increase can reduce the injuries. The rest and recovery also can reduce the injuries. Muscle soreness, appropriate equipment, psychological factor also, there is massive role of the injury prevention, and training in extreme condition. We are going to discuss all this one by one. So let's come to the physical conditioning. As we know, the physical conditioning is the key principle of the injury prevention. If you are working on injury prevention, the athlete should have physical proper conditioning. So according to this study, the decrease in the conditioning program decreases their injury risk, decreases the severity of the injury as well. So sometimes we cannot stop injury because people who are doing the sports, there is definitely chances of injury. We cannot stop all the injuries because it's in highest level, So, but by doing some fitness programs, some strengthening exercises, some conditioning exercises, we can reduce the severity of the injury. So if severity is the less, so then that particular athlete can recover earlier than the large injuries. So that is main our goal. At least we can help them to reduce the severity of the injury. That can help to prevent injury. So maximizing the chance of safe athletic performance required. So for that, what we need, particularly for the safe athletic performance, we need a proper muscular strength, we need a balance, we need power, we need endurance, we need neuromuscular coordination, we need joint flexibility, we need cardiovascular endurance, and good composition. All these collectively, if the person have, definitely there will be definitely the athletic performance, the performance will be definitely very high. So improving specific component of the fitness and conditioning reduces the risk of injury. So here I'm giving an example. As we know whether because we cannot talk, it should be very, if it would be very ideal if it would be a offline class, we can talk, we can discuss like each other, and I can take opinion from you guys also. But here only I have to talk because of lack of time and all, and there is a problem in the internet and all. So normally, as we know, we can only strengthen the muscle and tendon because they are the active structure. But meantime, there is very hard to strengthen the ligament, right? But there are some studies says if you strengthen the muscle, say particularly in the knee area, we strengthen the quadriceps, hamstring, and abductor and adductor. So then it helps because of the progressive loading. It increases the strength of ligament as well. So in regular exercises can significantly increase the strength of the ligament running to the knee, for an example, and prevent knee injuries. So the development provides increased strength that helps to stabilize the joint. If your joint is stabilized, and that improve the movement skill is important to avoid the injury. And now we'll discuss in principle, if you see here, so physical conditioning comprises, there are 4 subdivisions like strength, balance, and flexibility and endurance. So we'll come to the strength part now. If you see the strength, to improve the muscle strength, the stress must be progressive. So if you're keeping a progressive, like as we know, progressive resisted exercise is the one of the key factor to strengthen our muscles. So there is now, they introduce a new strategy in this research, or they're saying SAID principle. You know what is that? It's called specific adaptation to imposed demand. So these days, researchers, they're not using much progressive resisted exercises, PRE. They said, what is this? SAID principle. It means specific adaptation to imposed demand. What is that state? What it's called, the body is placed under stress of varying intensities and duration. It attempts to overcome the stress by adapting the specifically to the imposed demand. So on this principle, they found they call FIT principle, FITT. What is that? It's called F denotes frequency, I call intensity, T is time, and T is called type. So what is the type of exercise you are giving? What is the time period it should be? What is the intensity? How much frequency? How many times in a day, or how many times in a week, or how many times in a month? They need to do all this, need to be fixed before. Once you are making a prevention plan or prevention measurement, we need to follow these principles. So you see, likewise, when a muscle primarily produces motion of the joint, properly conditioning can prevent the muscle from undergoing unwanted movement. If your joint is moving unwanted, balance is very key factor. You know why? Because our the proprioceptors, like proprioception, or you can say proprioceptive receptor or kinesthetic sense, all these are present in the muscle tendon, Golgi tendon organ, and they are present with the ligaments also. Once the ligament or muscle got injured, there is chances of the balance loss. There is a lack of coordination between the muscle and between the ligament, or between the ligament. So like there will be chances, if there is a muscle injury, there are chances of lack of coordination between muscle and brain. If there is a ligament injury, because the proprioceptors and somatosensory emotions are present in ligaments, that also causes lack of transfer of the sense, like say kinetic sense or proprioceptive sense to the brain. So that all can cause injury. So what we can do after injury, we need to introduce some kind of sort of balance program, balance exercises, and mostly we should done in should be done in the closed eyes position. If you see like here, she's doing in single leg balanced. So particularly for the para-athletes, we need to introduce different type of balance training according to their body, according to their problems, and according to their disabilities. All these decreases the even not only the injury, it also reduces the recurrent, like further injury, like someone having gone through the injury and you already did the rehabilitation. We did the rehabilitation and they already recovered, but you failed to give the balance training. Sometimes it may cause some injuries. So never forget to introduce the balance training. That is helps always prevent the further injuries or recurrent injuries. Now come to the flexibility. As we know, if you are not flexible enough, it hard to move. Sometimes it can cause injuries. Efficient movements requires a full range. Of course, we need a full range of motion and adequate joint flexibility. That also decreases the injury susceptibility to the injury. The normal muscle length tension. We need an adequate length, to perform certain kind of sports. You need some bone length, bone muscle length ratio. It should be muscle should be always longer than the bone. Otherwise, our muscle will be very tight. So that may cause injury. If you can't move well, you cannot achieve your full range. There are chances of injury. So we need to plan our exercise or our preventive program to introducing the flexibility type of exercises. What is this? We can introduce stretching in the warm-up during warm-up stretching. Like if you see how these people are stretching for this is stretching for the hamstring. And as research says, if you stretch, the body temperature also increases. And because of the connective tissue has viscoelastic properties, it can elongate. It can elongate the tissue. So we can achieve our length. Look, if you see, because of the prosthesis is very long, he cannot reach to the prosthesis, but he has good flexibility of the hamstring. But again, he is trying to increase more flexibility of his hamstring, right hamstring. So like that, flexibility or stretching exercises has very good impact on injury prevention. Here also you can see the higher temperature at low load produces longest elongation with least damage to the connective tissue. If you see, if the body temperature is high and you are introducing some sort of elongation program to the connective tissue, and that increases the more length and with less damage. So same time, as we know, there are several type of stretching programs are there, but I'll suggest better you not to practice the ballistic type of stretching. Sometimes these all causes injury to our muscles or ligament. So don't practice the ballistic type injury. You use the sustain, slow and sustain. And according to the research, if you're stretching, it definitely 20 to 30 seconds hold and 3 to 5 times. So less than that, there will be not much effective. During warm up, you can use some sort of ballistic type of stretching, but not the cool down time, like the time they're cooling down or the after competition, the cooling down time. They should definitely stretch for at least 20 to 30 seconds and 3 to 5 times each side. The post-pull ballistic stretch can cause micro trauma or muscle injury to the muscle fibers. So don't practice this. Now come to the endurance. So how, as we told, that because of the distance, because of the travel, because of things, they may feel fatigue. So what we can introduce the cardiovascular endurance program. That is one of the key factors for the injury prevention as well. So it causes that it delays the onset of the fatigue. So if fatigue is not there, as we know, if our muscle is fatigued, that is the most vulnerable time for the injury. Why is that? If we are fatigued, your brain is fatigued, your muscle is fatigued, the chances of again lack of coordination between brain and that particular muscle. And that is the right time for the injury, So if someone feeling fatigue, please ask them if they are feeling fatigue. Please tell us get to know whether they are feeling fatigue and they are feeling exhausted. So that particular time we should not introduce any sort of exercises or any sort of things. Let them to recover. That's why there's another topic called recovery. So let them to recover, then only introduce another sort of exercises. So as we know, the fatigue also can cause injuries. Okay. Now come to the appropriate training methods. So definitely these are all for the trainers who have been introducing. So how you are training, how the specific it is, and how progressive it is, all drills, different type of agility, plyometry. There are so many type of program is there. And so for different sports, there are different training program are there. I'm not going details of that. Okay. So if you come to here, there are all, it can be because of your growth and development, it is because of the anatomy, anatomical factor, physiological, teaching skill, philosophy, sports psychology, biomechanics, history, nutrition, and injury, previous injury, and first aid. So these are all can be the factor. So what is the principle of training? I'm not going details, but it's called progressive loading. Let's say you have to keep progressively loading, then it reduces the fatigue and it improves the fitness and performance. Same like if you come to the adaptation, so to reduce the over injury illness, the person need to be adapt in different condition, different exercise to different environment. So adaptation also very important key factor for injury prevention. So here if you see, you can't do light, you can't do too strong also. So we need to follow the moderate, the middle type of exercise which can prevent the injury. The training with adequate.
Sorry, sir.
Yes.
Hello. Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Sorry, sir, interrupting you. Sir, please try to conclude in within given time.
All right. Okay, I'll try. Yes.
Try to conclude, sir.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank
So
you.
the specificity also same. You need to be very specific for that. Let's go with the reversibility, the recovery, and I told you the variation and recovery. You need to be very important recovery. So to see the rest and recovery also very important to prevent injuries, muscle soreness also, and appropriate equipments. You can see how the amputee, how we can use it can cause the blister, it can cause some kind of sort of injury to the stump. So we can use some sort of prosthesis to prevent all those injuries. Psychological factor is very important. We need to counsel your athlete if they are going through any psychological problems. And training in extreme condition, you need to go prior there and you need to condition there to adapt that condition. And come to the summary. So injury prevention is still very infant. It's still not very much developed. We need to we need to make our documentation and research and published in certain areas. Then further study can be done, and further student they can study about your research and they can identify some kind of injury prevention programs. And evaluation is very important. We need to evaluate properly regarding wheelchair, and if you see any kind of shoulder injuries and all, we can introduce some kind of strengthening program for particularly wheelchair athletes. So development of long-term injury surveillance program is very much necessary to prevent further injuries. The long-term studies, very importantly, you don't forget about the retirement, because they have to live their own life after sports also. So please introduce some sort of long-term studies and prevention plan who have been retired from athletes. So long-term studies and retired athlete will tell us how successful we are. I think that's all. There are few pictures for our athletes who have been gold medalist for India and other countries. Is the silver medalist, and these are my references. If you can go through this, thanks all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Session was very fruitful, and definitely I sure the participant will be more benefited by your session. Thank you. Now I would like to hand over mic Mr. Rajesh Kumar Yadav, Rehabilitation Officer, CRC Gorakhpur, to ask the question. Mr. Rajesh Kumar Yadav, sir. सर राजेश कुमार यादव सर, आप तक आवाज आ रही है?
जी सर आपकी आवाज आ रही है, मेरी आवाज आ रही है आप तक सर?
थैंक यू सर।
जी सर, मेरा सर्वप्रथम तो सर को मैं नमस्कार करता हूं, और एक हमारी मैडम है यहाँ पे दिव्यांग बच्चे की माता हैं प्रियांशी
हाँ जी।
जी, उन्होंने सर पूछा हुआ है कि जो हमारे दिव्यांग बच्चे होते हैं उनको हम इंजरी से कैसे बचा सकते हैं, ये इनका प्रश्न है सर।
वही हम लोग बहुत सारा प्रोग्राम जैसे हम बात किए अभी, पहले आइडेंटिफाई करना पड़ेगा कि उनका प्रॉब्लम क्या है, किस वजह से इंजरी हो रहा है, ठीक है। सो उसी हिसाब से हम लोग क्या कर सकते हैं, वही अगर उन लोग का स्ट्रेंथ में प्रॉब्लम है कि बैलेंस में प्रॉब्लम है कि किस वजह से उनका प्रॉब्लम है, if we can identify the exact cause of the injury, then we can implement some sort of like prevention program. उनका बच्चा क्या करता है ऐसे थोड़ा सा डिटेल में बता सकते हैं, तो कौन सा स्पोर्ट्स करते हैं, तो इस हिसाब से मैं बता सकता हूँ, बिकॉज मुझे मालूम नहीं है कौन सा स्पोर्ट्स वो करते हैं और किन से
सर उनका बच्चा थोड़ा सा उसका जी वो जो है ऐसे सामान्य खेल खेलते हैं सर, घरों में रहने वाले सामान्य खेल खेलते हैं, स्पोर्ट्स में ज्यादा भागीदारी उनकी नहीं है। थोड़ा सा ये जो जैसे कि घर पे खेले जाने वाले खेल हैं, सामान्य खेल, वही सब खेलों में खेलते हैं। तो वही उन्होंने पूछा हुआ है कि जो इंजरी हो सकती है दुर्घटना, तो कैसे उन्हें हम बचाएं, क्योंकि उनके बच्चे बौद्धिक रूप से ज्यादा सबल नहीं है, इंटेलेक्चुअली उनकी बुद्धि कम है, तो उस संदर्भ में इन्होंने जानकारी चाहिए।
हाँ, जैसे आप लोग का जैसे ये इंस्टीट्यूट है, सीआरसी है, आप वहाँ पे ला सकते हैं, और जैसे हम लोग का प्रोफेशनल है, विजय जी हैं, आप लोग है, राजेश जी, आप लोग कैसे आइडेंटिफाई कर सकते हैं व्हाट इज द प्रॉब्लम है, कौन से एरिया में उसका स्ट्रेंथ में प्रॉब्लम है या बैलेंस में प्रॉब्लम है और फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी में प्रॉब्लम है और टेक्निक में प्रॉब्लम है। जैसे ये इंटरनेशनल लेवल का नहीं है तो टेक्निक में हम लोग जा सकते हैं, बट हम लोग इसे डेली एक्टिविटीज़ में जैसे बच्चा स्पोर्ट्स करना चाहता है तो कौन सा डिफिकल्टीज उनका है, उसी हिसाब से शायद मैं तो दूर में हूँ, मैं तो देख नहीं सकता हूँ बच्चे को, बट जैसे मैं बोला विजय जी और आप लोग सब सारे उसका प्रॉब्लम आइडेंटिफाई करके उनको हेल्प कर सकते हैं।
थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू सर। एक लास्ट क्वेश्चन मैं और लेना चाहूंगा सर आपसे। ये क्वेश्चन हमारी एक पेरेंट हैं प्रीति जी, इन्होंने पूछा हुआ है कि जो हमारे बच्चों को खेल खेल में मान लीजिए कोई चोट लग जाती है तो उसका घर में उपचार कैसे कर सकते हैं, घर में कोई उपचार की टेक्निक
ये बहुत अच्छा क्वेश्चन है।
जी सर।
हाँ जी, बहुत बहुत अच्छे क्वेश्चन आप पूछे हैं। जैसे तुरंत कोई इंजरी हो गया, बच्चा गिर गया और किसी से चोट लग गया, जैसे अभी तक अगर कोई स्वेलिंग आ गया है, जैसे सूजन, मैं थोड़ा सा हिंदी में ज्यादा अच्छा नहीं हूँ, अभी आ गया सूजन हो गया कि ऐसा कुछ हो गया है, आप क्या कर सकते हैं, पहला 3 दिन तक आप आइस दे सकते हैं। अगर आइस दे रहे हैं वहाँ पे क्या होगा, तो स्वेलिंग कम हो जाएगा। अभी if there is any inflammation, आप इन्फ्लेमेशन को क्या बोलते हैं विजय जी हिंदी में प्लीज बता दीजिए, थोड़ा सा मुझे हिंदी ज्यादा मालूम नहीं है। सो आप आइस लगाते हो तो एटलीस्ट 10 मिनट करके दिन में 3-4 बार स्वेलिंग कम हो जाएगा, इन्फ्लेमेशन कम हो जाएगा। ये आप कर सकते हैं। अगर वहाँ पे कोई चोट हो गया, जैसे ब्लीडिंग हो रहा है, तो आप तुरंत फास्ट एड कर सकते हैं, थोड़ा सा कोई हॉस्पिटल लेके उनका स्टिच वगैरह करा सकते हैं। अगर उतना नहीं है, अगर कोई फ्रैक्चर वगैरह नहीं है, तो आप घर पे भी उपचार कर सकते हैं। जैसे बोला कि पहला 3 दिन आप आइस दीजिए, उसके बाद आप हॉट पे कोई भी हॉट थेरेपी आप दे सकते हैं, उसमें उपचार हो जाएगा। अगर आपको लग रहा है फिर भी आपका बच्चा का इम्प्रूवमेंट नहीं हो रहा है, दर्द कर रहा है, वो कंप्लेन कर रहा है, पेन हो रहा है, तो आप कोई पास में कोई फिजियोथेरेपी सेंटर और जैसे आप लोग का सीआरसी सेंटर है वहाँ पे ले जाइए, वहाँ पे प्रोफेशनल्स हैं, उन लोग देखेंगे और आपका बच्चे का उपचार कराएंगे।
राजेश सर अनम्यूट करिए अपने आप को, अनम्यूट करके तब बोलिए। राजेश सर प्लीज, राजेश जी आप अपने आप को अनम्यूट करिए पहले।
थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू सर। मैं सीधे हमारे आज सर मेरी आवाज जा रही है विजय सर?
हाँ जी अब आ रही है।
हाँ,
विजय सर मेरी आवाज जा रही है?
हाँ जी अभी आ रही है। ठीक है सर।
जी सर, धन्यवाद सर। और अब चूंकि कार्यक्रम का हमारा अंतिम समय आ चुका है, तो लास्ट में मैं आज का हमारा जो कार्यक्रम था इंजरी प्रिवेंशन एंड मैनेजमेंट इन पैरा एथलीट, इस विषय पर आधारित था। आज के इस कार्यक्रम में हमारे साथ बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण रूप से श्रीलंका से जुड़े हुए थे डॉक्टर अरुणांशु शेखर मोहंता सर। आपने बहुत ही अच्छे तरीके तरीके बहुत ही बेहतरीन तरीके से हमारे अभिभावकों को हमारे लिए जो चोटें हैं, चोट लग सकती है पैराथलिस्ट के दौरान या तमाम तरह के जो हमारे दिव्यांगजन है उंगलियों पे किस प्रकार से टूटन वगैरह हो सकती है, इस संदर्भ में साथ ही साथ वार्म अप कैसे किया जा सकता है एवं विभिन्न प्रकार की चोटों से बचाव कैसे किया जा सकता है, इस संदर्भ में बहुत ही विस्तार से जानकारी प्रदान की। और आज का यह कार्यक्रम बहुत ही लाभप्रद रहा क्योंकि सर ने अपना बहुमूल्य समय हमें प्रदान किया और बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण जानकारियों को सरल शब्दों में हमारे सम्मुख रखा, हमारे भक्तों के बीच में रखा। इसके हेतु सीआरसी गोरखपुर परिवार की तरफ से मैं दिल से हृदय से आभारी हूं। और के इसी क्रम में मैं अपने राष्ट्रीय निदेशक डॉक्टर हिमांशु दास सर का भी धन्यवाद ज्ञापित करना चाहूंगा कि उन्होंने इस तरह के कार्यक्रम को आयोजित करने हेतु हमें अनुमति प्रदान की। साथ ही साथ आज हमारे प्रोग्राम के चेयरपर्सन श्री रवि कुमार सर हमारे साथ जुड़े हुए थे, जिन्होंने अपना आशीर्वचन लगातार इस कार्यक्रम में हमारे साथ बनाए रखा और इस कार्यक्रम की संरचना करने के लिए, इस कार्यक्रम को बेहतर तरीके से आगे बढ़ाने के लिए, चलाने के लिए और इस तरह का कार्यक्रम हमारे दिव्यांग अभिभावकों के बीच लाने के लिए श्री विजय कुमार गुप्ता सर का भी मैं तहे दिल से हार्दिक धन्यवाद करता हूं। और इस कार्यक्रम में हमारे साथ जुड़े हुए तमाम सारे हमारे पेरेंट्स, गार्जियंस जो हमारे साथ इस कार्यक्रम में जुड़े हुए थे, उनका भी हार्दिक धन्यवाद करना चाहता हूं। एवं देश के दूर कोणों से जुड़े हुए तमाम सारे ऐसे हमारे प्रोफेशनल जो हमारे साथ जुड़े रहे और लगातार इस कार्यक्रम को सफल बनाने में हमें अपना पूरा सहयोग प्रदान किया, उन सभी का धन्यवाद ज्ञापित करना चाहूंगा। साथ ही साथ उन लोगों का भी धन्यवाद करना चाहूंगा शायद जिनका नाम मैं इस कार्यक्रम में न ले पाया हूं। तो सभी का एक बार पुनः सीआरसी गोरखपुर परिवार की तरफ से तहे दिल से हार्दिक धन्यवाद और सभी को नमस्कार। और साथ ही साथ मैं अब लास्ट में आमंत्रित करूंगा श्री विजय सर को कि आप कार्यक्रम के समाप्त की घोषणा करें। श्री विजय सर।
सभी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सर, आपका भी बहुत धन्यवाद। आपने क्वेश्चन आंसर सेशन को संचालित किया, वोट ऑफ थैंक्स किया। बस अब कार्यक्रम तो समाप्ति हो गया है आपके औपचारिक वोट ऑफ थैंक के बाद, लेकिन फिर भी जिन पार्टिसिपेंट ने फीडबैक फॉर्म नहीं भरा है, आप अपना फीडबैक फॉर्म भर दें। और एक बार फिर डॉक्टर अनुवंशु शेखर मोहंता सर को मैं बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूं कि सर आप इतने व्यस्त होते हुए भी आज आपने हमारे सीआरसी गोरखपुर के लिए अपना कीमती समय निकाला और सीआरसी गोरखपुर आपका आभारी रहेगा। और इसी बातों के साथ आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सर। थैंक यू।
धन्यवाद।
थैंक यू सो मच।
थैंक यू।
ओके, थैंक यू।